Hello everybody, it's me Feng Ling here, and today I'm going to talk about how fairy tales actually work. 1. What is the main idea of the talk and what surprised you most about it? Well, the talk was to uncover the real versions, the original versions of the fairy tales that we listen to today. There are some very famous fairy tales that we listen to today, like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, or maybe Cinderella, or maybe Hansel and Gretel. Yes, those are some very famous fairy tales that we listen to today. But the real versions or original versions that were wrote weren't so similar to those versions. And this talk actually uncovered those versions, and then it surprised me a lot because of how dark and how cruel those versions were. 2. Who were Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, and why did they collect these fairy tales? Well, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm are two men from the 70s or so. And these men collected the stories from many people, from wives of tailors, from housemaids, from people from all over the world and in their country. And then they wrote a book of tales. And these tales were wrote and then they were published, but they weren't so famous, and they didn't sell well. How were the original Grimm fairy tales different from the Disney versions that most people know today? Well, they were different because they were really harsh, they were really cruel to many people, and then they weren't so happy ended. There are some tales which actually ended in a very scary way, and I don't even want to talk about it because it actually scares me out of my head. Why do you think the original fairy tales contained so much violence and cruelty? Well, I think that the original tales were published so that adults could read it, and it was based on real life tales, and the publisher, who were Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm, aimed to actually tell people about the cruelty and violence of the real world, and it was not aimed for children to read, so it was really violent and it was really cruel. How did stories like Cinderella, Snow White, and Little Red Riding Hood change as they spread across different cultures and time period? Well, I would give the example of the Snow White, okay? Because this is a very famous story, and it was also remade by Disney. So it had a really happy ending, and it was really famous. So in the original tale, Snow White was actually awoken by a trip of a dwarf, and then the piece of apple just actually went out of her mouth. It was not actually from a true love kiss from a prince. And the queen who tried to sabotage Snow White actually had to dance forever on really hot a really hot pair of glass slippers that was actually hardened on coal. So it was really harsh on the queen, and it was not such a true love kiss ending. So it was not suitable for children. But when it spread across different cultures and different time periods, then people just kind of changed it so that it would be more suitable for children. So it actually changed into Snow White was awoken by a true love kiss from a prince, and the queen was never to be seen again. So I think that by spreading from like different cultures and different time periods, then many people would actually try to change or shift the things in that like tale to make it more suitable for children or the people in that period. How might children react differently to the original versions of these fairy tales compared to the Disney adaptations? Well, I think that children would like react like really different, like they would be scared and they would never want to listen to that again. And then like I don't know, it would just make like really not good. Like there would be some kind of like the children would have okay, I can just say that the children would react were very different to the original versions. After watching this talk, do you think fairy tales are primarily meant to entertain, teach lessons, or reflect society's fear? Explain your view. Well, I think they were primarily meant to reflect like society fear and the violence and the cruelty of like real life, like if of like the real life world. But I think that the versions right now would be really suitable for children, and they would be more like more like calming and soothing. So I think that the fairy tales should just remain this way, and it shouldn't change anymore because I think it's like such a happy ending story. So why should we change it? Well, that's my opinion, and maybe you could tell me your opinion in the comment below. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!